matches. 12 games were scheduled to be played at the National Stadium and Jalan Besar Stadium over 8 days starting 29th of June. Singapore clubs Geylang International and Lion City Sailors are in the mix, along with those from 4 Southeast Asian countries. The AFC Cup is Asia's second-tier club competition, which was cancelled last year due to the pandemic.
While dining in may have stopped, the cleaning hasn't. Some coffee shop operators are not letting up on hygiene as Singapore continues to battle the pandemic. But with no eating out allowed, one coffee shop chain's drinks staff and runners are now taking on additional roles as cleaners. Chloe Chu with more.
Fewer patrons means floors and tables are actually cleaner than usual. Foochow Coffee Restaurant and Bar Merchants Association, which represents around 400 member shops, continues to task its outsourced cleaners to wipe down coffee shop tables and chairs daily. But it has cut almost half of its cleaners during this period of heightened alert.
After no dining in, the coffee shop cleaning process has been changed. Because there's no dining in, so the floor, all this, definitely will be cleaner. The operator and the contractor, they will have to talk to each other, see how many manpower they have reduced, then what would be the, for example, fees like.
Another coffee shop chain has also cut its outsourced cleaners. Instead, it has tasked staff that take beverage orders to keep its coffee shops clean. This as sales at these eateries have fallen up to 60% from a month ago due to tighter COVID-19 measures. Stalls can only offer takeaway and delivery to reduce the risk of transmission. Even with the plunge in sales, Kim San Ling is still holding on to its coffee shop workers as it anticipates dine-in crowds to return. However, the eateries are expecting cleaning fees to rise slightly when Singapore recovers safely in the months ahead. That's because COVID-19 border restrictions will continue to limit the inflow of these workers. Also, older cleaners have been quitting their jobs.
The frequency of cleaning also increased. So it will be more tough. Normally, they will employ those senior ones. So you will feel very tiring.
Due to the pandemic, cleaners have to work harder and disinfect more surfaces too. That's also likely to put off workers from joining the cleaning industry.
Singapore's highest Islamic religious authority has lodged a police report over a social media poll that asked netizens to rank female asatizas or religious teachers based on their sexual attractiveness. At least 1,000 people participated in the poll, which has drawn strong criticism from leaders here. In a Facebook post, President Halimah Yacob says that those who ran and took part in the poll deserve the strongest condemnation. Madam Halimah warns that the incident is not only against the law, but also amounts to an open invitation to commit sexual violence against women. She urges the authorities to fully investigate the matter and punish those found guilty. Minister in charge of Muslim Affairs, Masagos Zulkifli, says that those behind the poll must be held accountable with the full force of the law. He adds that he's aware of claims that they're mostly undergraduates reading Islamic studies and had asked the Islamic Religious Council of Singapore, or MUIS, to look into the allegations.
Perpetrators may potentially be charged pursuant to the penal code, which is insulting the woman's modesty. Now, this is due to the fact that the poll seeks to rank women in accordance to their degree of sexual appeal. This is clearly insulting to most women objectively, and especially more to this class of women identified as asatizas of female Islamic religious teachers.
MUIS told CNA that the incident has caused distress and alarm to those named in the poll, as well as members of the community. It has reached out to the victims and will provide support and counselling. The authority says that it will not tolerate any form of sexual harassment, calling the behaviour a disgrace to the Muslim community.
Still to come, Twitter's battle with India over new IT rules escalates. And rising global temperatures are said to be moving closer to a climate change tipping point. The UN believes it could happen within 5 years.
bearing the brunt of worsening global warming.
As we see the whole landscape changing, it is really impacting our way of life.
Can we reduce our carbon footprint to fight climate change?
We're doing our bit to not rely so much on the coal-fired power stations to power what we do in our house.
Are the steps we're taking really enough? CNA correspondent fighting climate change. Friday on CNA.
I'm getting my COVID-19 vaccine.
Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in.
And documenting all my side effects.
Bam, the soreness set in.
But with cases of infection among those who are vaccinated, how protected am I?
Now what we're seeing are actually mutants, which are quite different from the original strand.
Talking Point, Friday 9:30 p.m. on CNA.
From the top stories in Asia.
A quicker, portable way of testing for COVID-19 in just 5 minutes.
To breaking news in the US and Europe.
US President-elect Joe Biden is set to formally introduce his top economic team.
With an eye on markets opening across the world.
Wall Street's major indices all closed the month with double-digit percentage gains.
It's the one bulletin that offers you a global perspective. World Tonight, daily, on CNA.
ちゃんは山梨名物のほうとう食べたいものぶれていません。
これ全部いつも置くかな。
こうやってなるんだ。
いい話。はいはい。
Japan Hour, Saturday on CNA. Japan Hour is brought to you by Sumitomo Corporation and SMBC. This segment is brought to you by Xeon Corporation.
In business tonight, Singapore's services sector earned less in the first quarter of this year compared to the previous year. But the sector showed a slight improvement, with firms seeing a smaller dip in revenue compared to the fourth quarter of 2020. Economists say recovery is likely to be bumpy across various industries. Geraldine Yap reports.
There are small signs of some recovery for the services sector. Firms reported lower earnings in the first quarter, with revenue dropping by 1.5% on year. It's not as severe as the 7.6% decline seen in the fourth quarter of 2020. On a quarterly basis, earnings fell by 0.6%. Performance was mixed across the various segments. Industries like education, infocom and finance and insurance generated growth. Others, such as professional services and administrative and support services, are among the worst hit. One analyst says these industries are likely to suffer in the near future because of reduced economic activities.
Administrative and support services industry, I think there was some weaker demand from firms who are engaging in construction activities, and that's partly attributed to a bit of a manpower crunch in terms of the foreign labour coming into Singapore and some of the projects being delayed. So that is also weighing on, having a spillover effect on the services sector.
Other experts believe recovery will depend on whether Singapore can control the spread of COVID-19 and also what happens in the region.
There are many countries that are struggling. It's not even just about vaccination process, but they can't even contain the spread of the pandemic. So given, and many of these countries are countries that are around